Hey everyone, welcome back to my tech channel. This is a series of iOS interview questions and answers. This is the fourth part and it contains 15 questions. If you have yet not watched my previous videos, I have added the links in the description section below. You can check there. So without any further delay, let's start. Question number 46. What is auto layout and why it is used? So auto layout is a constraint based layout system. By using this auto layout developer to create an adaptive interface that responds appropriately to changes in screen size and device orientation. Next question. Explain higher order functions: sorted, map, filter, reduce, compact map and flat map. First, sorted. If we call sorted on an array, it will return a new array that's sorted in ascending order. In order for this method to work, the elements in the array need to conform to the comparable protocol. Kindly check this example. If we want to specify exactly how we want to sort the array, we will need to use the higher order function sorted by. And there is another example given on the screen. Next is map. We can use map to loop over a collection and apply the same operation to each element in the collection. The map function returns an array containing the results of applying a mapping or transform function to each item. Please review the given example. Next is filter. The filter method will return an array that has only elements that pass your filter specified in your closure. Example is given for filter as well. Next is reduce. The reduce function allows you to combine all the elements in an array and return an object of any type, like generics. Declaration is an Apple document. So the reduce function takes two arguments. One is an initial value which is used to store the initial value or the value or result returned by the closure from each iteration. The other one is a closure which takes two arguments. One is the initial value or the result from the previous execution of the closure and the other one is the next item in the collection. Please check the given example. Next is flat map. We can use flat map to iterate and flatten a collection of collections, but before flattening the collection, we can apply a map to each element. It also removes optionals and nil in the resultant array. However, flat map is deprecated from Swift 4.1, so now instead of flat map, we should use compact map. So, compact map returns an array containing the non-nil results of calling the given transformation with each element of this sequence. Please review the given example. Next, explain a singleton class. When only one instance of a class is created in the application, that class is called a singleton class. Singleton objects can be accessed globally. Singleton is a design pattern that is very popular in development. It initializes your class instance single time only with static property and it will share your class instance globally. We have used Apple's foundation APIs like userdefaults.standard, filemanager.default, which are similar to the singleton class pattern. You have to write a private init method. This private init makes sure that there should be only one instance of the class. If I write public init, then there could be more than one instance of the class, which will not work for singleton. The left side example shows how to create singleton class and the right side one shows how to access that singleton class function. Next, drawbacks of using singleton classes. It's very simple to use and very convenient. It makes your code very tightly coupled, which you don't want. The major reason is global access. You can use it anywhere in the project, which generates difficulties while resolving any bugs related to this. There is no transparency. Managing their lifecycle can be tricky since singleton alive during the entire lifespan of your application. Managing them can be really hard. So we should use singleton only when it is required and try to reduce its usage. Next, question number 50, dependency injection. One of the best solutions to avoid usage of singleton class is dependency injection. Let's say one class is using another class. So in this case, we know how the data is passing between these two classes. Dependency injection means you are injecting dependency into another class. Testing would be easier, easy to resolve bugs. Transparency is high as to how data is passing is very clear. Review the given example on the screen. Next, question number 51. What is NSURL connection class? Define its types and use cases. There are two ways of using the NSURL connection class. One is asynchronous and the other is synchronous. An asynchronous connection will create a new thread and perform its download process on the new thread. A synchronous connection will block the calling thread while downloading the content and doing its communication. Many developers think that a synchronous connection blocks only the main thread, which is not true. A synchronous connection will always block the main thread, always block the thread from which it is fired. If we fire a synchronous connection from the main thread will be blocked. However, if we fire a synchronous connection from a thread other than the main thread, it will be like an asynchronous connection and won't block our main thread. In fact, the only difference between synchronous and asynchronous connection is that at the runtime, a thread will be created for the asynchronous connection, while it won't do the same for a synchronous connection. In order to create an asynchronous connection, we need to have our URL in an instance of an string, convert our string to an instance of an SURL, place our URL in a URL request of type NSURL request, or in the case of mutable URLs, in an instance of NS mutable URL request. Create an instance of NSURL connection and pass the URL request to it. This is how the flow works. Next, question number 52. What is NSURL session? NSURL session is a replacement for NSURL connection, and similarly it is both a distinct class and also a group of related APIs. NSURL session is just like an improvement, or you can consider it as a refactoring. There are three types of NSURL session. First, default sessions, behavior like NSURL connection. Second, ephemeral sessions, not cache any content to disk. Third, download sessions. Store the result in file and transferring data even when app is suspended, exits or crashes. Based on above sessions, developers can schedule three types of tasks. First, data task, retrieve data to memory. Second, download task, download file to disk. Third, upload task, uploading file from disk and receiving response as data in memory. Next question, main difference between NSURL session and NSURL connection. First, NSURL connection, when our app goes to background mode or not running mode, using NSURL connection, everything we have received or sent were lost. Whereas in NSURL session, it gives your app the ability to perform background downloads when your app is not running or app is suspended. It manages the connection process even when we don't have access. You will need to use application handle events for background URL session completion handler method in your app delegate. Next, question number 54. What are closures? Closures are self-contained blocks of functionality that can be passed around and used in your code. For doing any heavyweight operation, for example API parsing, time-consuming operation, Data passes to the server, then we get the response, then parse. So we use closures in such scenarios where we have to perform a long task in the background, and after receiving the result, we need to update the UI and set data. Closure expressions are unnamed closures written in a lightweight syntax that can capture values from their surrounding context. Review the given example on the screen. Important note, functions and closures are reference types. Next, question number 55. What is bundle in iOS? A bundle is a directory in the file system that contains the all executable code and related resources such as images and sounds together in one place. Apple uses bundles to represent apps, frameworks, plugins, and many other specific types of content. Bundles organize their contained resources into well-defined subdirectories, and bundle structure vary depending on the platform and the type of the bundle. Next question, difference between app ID and bundle ID. Bundle ID is the identifier of an app, but app ID is not. App ID is the connection between app and provisioning profile. Multiple apps can share the same app ID. The app ID does not uniquely identify an application. An app ID is a two-part string used to identify one or more apps from a single development team. A bundle ID precisely identifies a single app. A bundle ID is used during the development process to provision devices and by the operating system when the app is distributed to customers. Question number 57. What is device token? Device token, which is also called push token, is a unique key for the app device combination which is issued by Apple. It allows push notification providers to route messages and ensure the notification is delivered only to the unique app device combination for which it is intended. iOS device push tokens are strings with 64 hexadecimal symbols. Question number 58. Is the device token updated when you reinstall the application? Yes. Next question. What is app thinning? How to reduce app size? App thinning is a concept of reducing the app size while downloading. Using the below methods, we can reduce the app size. First one, app slicing, retina and non-retina. App slicing delivers only relevant assets to each device depending on screen resolution, architecture, etc. In fact, app slicing handles the majority of the app thinning process. Second method is bitcode. Bitcode is somewhat abstract, but in a sense, it is Apple's new way of optimizing apps before they are downloaded. Bitcode makes apps as fast and efficient as possible on whatever device they are running. Bitcode automatically compiles the app for the most recent compiler and optimizes it for specific architectures. This can be done via the project settings under build settings and selecting bitcode to yes. You can see that in the given screenshot. And the third method is on-demand resources. On-demand resources are files that can be downloaded after the app's first installation. For example, specific levels of a game. Enabling on-demand resources involves changing the enable on-demand resources boolean to yes in Xcode settings under build settings. This is also shown on the screen. And the last question, maximum how many devices you can register on the developer portal? So maximum 100 devices you can register. So that's all about 15 questions. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel to get notified of my new videos. Also, the same questions are available on my website as well. If you want to read instead of listening and watching this video, then you can go there. I have added the blog link in the description section. Please check there. Thanks for watching. I will see you all in my next video. Bye bye.